All right, it's Monday morning. It's time to rejoin the real world after a weekend at the farm, which I'm exceedingly reluctant to do. The United States Embassy in Qatar has warned all United States citizens living in Qatar to shelter in place until further notice without providing a reason as the world waits to see what Iran's response or reaction is going to be to our attack on Iran day before yesterday. So they wouldn't do that unless they had some kind of intelligence that would back that up. Amazingly, there was absolutely no intelligence to support the fact or the allegation that Iran was weeks or months away from obtaining a nuclear warhead that they would be capable of placing on top of a missile and putting it over a target, an intended target. There's no intelligence to support that. And so, again, as we did 22 years ago in Iraq, we have gone to war based on bullshit and lies. However, when George W. Bush went to war in Iraq, he spent a year and a half building that fake fabricated case with Dick Cheney and Colin Powell. One of my favorite little vignettes. There was a reporter at the Wall Street, or no, there was a reporter at the New York Times. I think her first name was Susan. I can't remember her last name. And Dick Cheney was feeding her stories. She would write up the stories, and then Dick Cheney would go on the Sunday morning news shows and say, "I'm not making this up." And he would hold up a copy of the New York Times showing that article. And he'd be like, "I'm not making this up. It's being reported in the New York Times." We found that out much later. But when George W. Bush went to war in Iraq, he rallied our allies. And our allies went to war with us, which caused a lot of our allies a great deal of difficulties back in their home countries when it turned out that everything we had told everybody to justify the war in Iraq turned out to be lies. Here we are in June of 2025, and right now, as near as I can tell, our only allies right now are Israel and El Salvador. Donald Trump has trashed all of our relationships with all of our other allies. So we're going this one alone, basically. El Salvador is not joining in, and Israel is completely dependent upon the United States military, and United States weapons to conduct its war against the Gaza Strip and Palestinian civilians, and to conduct its war against Iran. So we're essentially flying solo on this. No allies, no nothing. And we did it because Israel wanted us to, based on bullshit and lies. Yeah. Anyway, apart from that, everything else seems to be working out. So have a great Monday, everybody.